All right, lift off. Okay, awesome. Okay, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hot? Okay, all right, we have plenty of water. So I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And if everyone could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Walsh,
Present.
Councilmember Bullen,
Here.
Councilmember Ime,
Present.
Councilmember Becker,
Here.
Councilmember Urban,
Here.
Councilmember Crable,
Here.
Councilmember Crumpler,
Here.
Mayor Millawamble.
Here. Next item on the agenda is public comment. And Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
We do. We have two people, Scott Steinling and Kathleen Hayes.
Okay. All right. Public comment is an opportunity for speakers to provide their views and feedback to the city council. It is also an opportunity for the city council to listen and hear diverse points of view. To maximize the impact of public comment and show respect for the expression of all views, speakers should maintain civility and focus on city issues. Speakers must identify themselves for the record, but are not required to give their address. Each speaker is given the floor for 3 minutes, and the city council does not respond or engage in debate. Any speaker that engages in threatening or disorderly behavior will be deemed out of order, and their time would be seized. And I think we have the people to help with that.
So first up, we'll have Scott Steinling, and then to follow Kathleen Hayes. And for the record, we did not receive any emailed public comment.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Scott Steinling, Ward 5. My concern is I've been bringing this up for quite a while, the streets in this town. On the way down here, there were several places I had almost stop rather than tear my car up. That I realize it doesn't matter a bit to the city, not a bit. The gas taxes keep going up with the price of gas. Also, why doesn't the city drop the sales tax on gasoline? But I realize that's asking too much. The city will blow it anyway. And to be quite honest, you know, the people that are coming to our city, they are really not there. It wouldn't leave a good impression on me. And, you know, we've got the noise ordinance. We take the money that you're going to spend on the lousy fireworks and put it right into the roads. But I realize that makes too much common sense. You're afraid you would upset people. Are the police really upset when they stop and write somebody a traffic ticket? I don't think so. They're here. Why don't you ask them? You know, I hope you see where I'm coming from. The taxes in the city keep going up and the services keep going down. The roads keep getting worse. Now, you can't tell me that it doesn't happen, because on Washington Street, there is a stretch that's great. And so when I hit that stretch, yeah, I go up to the speed limit. When I'm going over the bumpy roads, I could slow down about halfway. And I shouldn't have to do that. But, you know, also you've got a noise ordinance with the barking of the dogs. I wonder if the barking of the dogs is something that you really don't like, but fireworks is. Noise is noise. I don't care what term you use for it. You understand where I'm coming from, I hope. If I haven't been plain enough, please tell me, and I'm more than willing to be more plain than that. But with the fireworks, with a dog, it sounds like a firearm going right off next to a person's ear. I wonder why the police use hearing protection. Why don't you ask them? They're here. That's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Next up, Kathleen Hayes.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Hayes. I am a member of Illinois Recovery Corps, and I have been serving almost to the end of my service term, serving the substance use and mental health recovery communities of Bloomington, Normal, and McLean County. We are looking at within the McLean County ROSC, which is the recovery-oriented system of care, at looking and wanting to go into the community and source getting together either a peer recovery support services program or a recovery community center to serve McLean County. What I'm doing to finish out my service term is doing a community-wide survey to gauge both interest and readiness for such an organization. I have my wonderful pass outs with a QR code you can scan to go to the survey, or there is also the survey link. I am inviting policy changers and decision makers to please take part in this because we want a well-rounded information to present to the ROSC so they can make decisions going forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you. That's all the public comment we had for today.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is recognition and appointments. And we're going to start with a presentation of the City of Bloomington Police Department Police Officers Commission Certificate to Officers William Shelton and Ronald Fryman. Okay, awesome. Upon their completion of the probation period as requested by the police department, I'm going to turn it over to the chief.
Good evening.
Evening.
Mayor, City Council, thank you for this opportunity. We have two officers before you today. One is actually a local resident, but both of them are military veterans. Each have successfully completed an intense 18-month probation and training, which consisted of 12 or 14-week Illinois Police Training Academy, which is approved by the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, and up to an 18-week field training officer program with the Bloomington Police Department. It is an honor and a privilege to first have before us Officer Ronald Fryman. Officer Fryman was hired September 9th, 2020. He was born and raised in DeWitt County and I'll start over. Officer Fryman was born and raised in DeWitt County and graduated from Clinton High School. After graduating high school, he spent 4 years with the Marine Corps as an infantryman. He was stationed at Camp Pendleton, California, and did one deployment. Before joining the Bloomington Police Department, he was honorably discharged at the rank of sergeant. Since starting with the Bloomington Police Department, Officer Fryman has received 3 awards, 2 letters of commendation, and 1 exemplary performance citation. He was recently selected for the SWAT team. While off duty, Ron enjoys hunting, fishing, and spending time with family and friends. Officer Fryman. Next, we'll have Officer Shelton. Officer Shelton was also hired on September 9th, 2020. He is married to his wonderful wife, Erica, of 9 years. She joins us today. and they have two girls, Emma and Kennedy. William graduated from Normal Community West High School in 2011. Before joining the Bloomington Police Department, he was enlisted in both the Army and Army National Guard for a total of 10 years. While off duty, William enjoys spending time outside with his girls, watching Illinois basketball, St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and attending Vail Church. Thanks again for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief, and thank you to both officers for your service to the community. I know it is a difficult time to be in law enforcement at this particular time, but I definitely commend you for doing that. We look forward to your service. Thank you so much. Okay, next on the agenda is recognition of boards and commission appointments and reappointments as requested by the administration department. And we're just going to go through the slides, right? Okay. And we do have a few of those members here. So when your name is announced, feel free to stand up and wave, smile.
All right, we have Jay Groves with the Airport Authority Board, a reappointment. Daniel Freeberg with the Citizens Beautification Committee, again, a reappointment. Greg Coos with the Historic Preservation Commission, a reappointment. Catherine Crockett, John M. Scott Healthcare Commission, a reappointment. Elaine Hardy, John M. Scott Healthcare Commission, a reappointment. Jacqueline Byers, Planning Commission, first-time appointment. Betty Middleton, Housing Authority Board, a reappointment. Scott Rathbun, the Police Pension Board, a reappointment. Aaron Purtle, the Technology Commission, that I believe is a first-time appointment. Gary Newmeyer, Technology Commission, reappointment. Nikki Williams, Zoning Board of Appeals, reappointment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much for your willingness to serve. I know you're serving as volunteers, and that's not an easy job to do, given all of the the many things that you have to do, in your not only personal or professional life. So we definitely appreciate your commitment to serving the city of Bloomington. We couldn't do what we do without the help of the volunteers on the many boards and commissions. So thank you all very much. And you're welcome to stay to watch government in action, or you can decide to go do other things on this warm night. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there any item that members of the council would like to have removed? Okay, seeing none. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Okay. Okay, motion by Councilmember Becker. Second by Councilmember Crumpler. All right, we can go ahead and vote. Okay, we're doing electronic. We have a slower council tonight. I think it's the heat.
IT, if you want to go ahead and show it, you can. There's actually a couple that are repeats on there.
Okay, thank you. The consent agenda passes. There are no nays to announce. The next item on the We're going to move on to the regular agenda. The next item is a consideration and action to approve a resolution authorizing the use of American Rescue Plan funds to contribute $150,000 to the Carl Health Center for Philanthropy for the partial funding of a mobile health unit as requested by the administration department. And I'm going to turn it over to City Manager Gleason for some comments.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and to the community. This is a rather exciting item that's before Council for approval tonight. The conversation first began with City of Bloomington, I'm going to say back in January or February of this year. And tonight, this is a culmination of these conversations, and it's an opportunity to, bring, and I'm going to let Mr. Jeff Tenervan and David Taylor with United Way to come up and speak. This truly is a collaborative effort. There's a lot of partners that are a part of this, and this is a mobile health unit as described in the memo, but it's something that's going to provide tremendous care to residents of McLean County. A number of those live right here in our community. Like the mayor said, this is the use of some of the ARP funds that the city has to the tune of $150,000, and very much appreciate being asked to participate in this. David, if you wouldn't mind coming forward, and Jeff as part of the Tenervan Family Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us here. I'm here representing the Tenervan Family Foundation, and we've really put together an interesting collaboration and partnership here. We've got Carl Hospital. The money's being funded through their foundation, but it's actually Carl Broman that's going to operate the unit. Some of you toured it. There's one that comes once a month here. It's actually like a mobile dock in the box. It's that big, and they can do everything there that they can do in a dock in the box. So how this started was United Way and my foundation and the Laborers International each came up with $100,000, and it's going to be used. David can talk a little bit more about this, but we're going to be using it in underserved areas where people don't have access to healthcare. West side of Bloomington, far-reaching rural areas in McLean County. And so we think this is the beginning of this partnership doing things. We're going to be announcing some pretty exciting things. In other ways, we're going to bring healthcare to the west side. And so I don't know which ones of you actually toured the unit that was here. Oh, you did? Yeah. And you did? Yeah, it's actually at Woodhill Towers once a month right now. I think it's the third Monday. And our foundation has been involved with them in all kinds of ways with food and some other things. So if you got any questions, we're here to answer them. Sure.
David Taylor, President and CEO with United Way of McLean County. It's great to see a number of you again. And we appreciate you taking some time to consider this opportunity and this investment in our community in McLean County. One of the reasons that we feel this is a urgent kind of priority is dating back to probably the late 90s, early 2000s, various community needs assessments identified access to services as one of the key gaps for our community. Many of you probably are aware of the combined health needs assessments that the county health department, Carl and OSF, as well as Chestnut, do every few years. It's continued to pop up as a key gap, a key area of need for our community. And so the opportunity kind of came up organically in conversations that we were having with Carl around some behavioral health, mental health type supports out in rural school districts. And they proposed or brought up the idea of a mobile health unit like the one that's currently dedicated in Champaign County that could be dedicated just for McLean County. So as Jeff alluded to, imagine being able to bring this RV, and it is an RV. I mean, think Madden Cruiser kind of style RV that can go to Western Avenue Community Center, Boys and Girls Club, for the town of Normal up to Orlando Avenue and the Unity Community Center. Or for John McIntyre and the county board, imagine being able to go to Danvers or Colfax or Bellflower to be able to bring Carl's clinicians, their nurse practitioners, doctors, and others out there. That's how we envision this being able to go. Instead of it's kind of these areas of deserts, if you will, for services like medical care, to be able to bring that out to the communities in meaningful ways that we can start addressing some of these health disparities that you see. This is what we envision with this. And as Jeff alluded to, this is just the start of several partnerships, some that you'll be hearing more about in the coming months. We've just launched a behavioral health initiative with some rural schools locally in partnership with Carl and United Way. And this is another, the mobile unit is another way to help deliver some of these services in areas that just don't have the access. So as Jeff said, if there are any questions, we're happy to chat about them.
Sure. Any questions, Council? Councilmember Bowling.
I don't have any questions. I'm very thrilled about this. I took the tour, very impressed. The fact that you can do blood screening, complete chemistry scan, CBC, differential, all right there on the spot, diabetic testing. There's nothing more important than preventative care. And I think that this mobile unit will provide that. And I also remember somebody saying that if they do get a diagnosis of, let's say, diabetes, they would then be referred to a clinician. This is not to substitute for, you know, a doctor and ongoing care. This is more screening. And I'm thrilled also that it's available for children. Vaccines are available on the bus. I was just really impressed. So kudos.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that a couple of things, really, the cost of this project start with 750,000. And so we're getting a number of people in the community to partner in this. But who's making the biggest commitment is Carl, because we've got this thing set up with them that we're going to have control of where it goes. And so it stays in McLean County, but Carl's going to have doctors, nurse practitioners, social workers are all going to be there all the time. And so they're making a huge long-term commitment in this thing. We're just buying it, but they're going to maintain it and actually service it with the medical professionals. So Carl's board has made a 20-year commitment to try to eliminate poverty in Central Illinois. So they're doing unbelievable things in other parts of Central Illinois, and they're bringing it over here to Bloomington Normal, which I think is really great.
Oh, Councilmember Walsh.
Thank you. I think this is a great use of American Rescue Plan dollars. I think this is one of those projects that could have been envisioned and really was envisioned with the American Rescue Plan. I could see something like this, the Madden bus. I'm going to call it the ice cream truck. Going down the street, I mean, we know we had issues getting vaccines, getting needles in arms with COVID. And I could see something like this being able to drive down the street playing the ice cream truck music saying, come out for your jab. And then we'll be back next week, and then we'll be back next week, and being able to do that and really help if we do run into another COVID type of situation. And not just for the regular preventative health, but kind of a disaster plan for what happens if we do have COVID again. So thank you very much.
Right. Yep. And as Jeff alluded to as well, I think part of what will help with that acceptance and integration into existing services in McLean County, they've been bringing this bus, their current unit that's dedicated to Champaign, over to Bloomington at least once a month for about 15 months or so. And at Woodhill Towers, they're starting to see the acceptance of it, the understanding of what it is. So you've already got proof of concept, if you will, right? So what we're investing in here isn't something that we don't know how it's going to turn out. We already have seen, they've had this in use for about 5 years over in Champaign County. And because of the money that we provided to Carl back in November, the bus is already under construction. So the expected delivery date is by the end of this year, roughly, maybe a little bit sooner, maybe a little bit later. It depends on supply chains. But we funded the money sufficient so that they could put down the down payment and begin construction. So we didn't have to wait until it was fully funded to be able to do.
You have a question? No. Councilmember Urban? Oh, sorry, I didn't. You guys- Okay, all right. You have the floor.
West Side, we welcome your this new project over to the west side. We sure need it. With that in mind, Mayor, I'd like to put a motion on the table to approve this as presented. I'll second.
Okay, all right. Is that- So, and Councilmember Emig has questions.
Thank you. I enjoyed touring the facility and told you then, David, how much I was impressed by it and with the professionals there who were on site as well. So I have one question and one suggestion, which you may already be thinking of. And the question is, just for the sake of understanding the scope of this, if you could estimate, say, the number of folks who will be served by the mobile unit, in a year, what would that be? And the second one, just so you know, is if you've considered working in conjunction with the public schools and maybe setting up the unit before and after school hours, again, to build that trust and to really work in partnership with the families and leaders in the schools to give more folks access.
Well, currently, and we're not sure that Woodhill Towers is the most effective location. It's the one that Carl worked out to begin with. They're seeing 20 to 30 people during that day that they do it. By the way, they're already doing stuff with the schools. They were out doing school checkups and vaccinations at somewhere in District 87 and in Unit 5. And so that will be continued, and try to schedule that with school days. And because a lot of, they got to require to have their vaccination stuff, and they don't have any access to do that. So we'll not only be doing it in their neighborhoods, we'll also be doing it at some of the schools.
Thank you. One question I have is how is this going to work in terms of identifying the locations, and how many days a week are you going to do it?
Well, I think that some of that is to be determined. We have a pretty good idea. In fact, we've got a map that has been put together by the health people about where are the most affected areas of not having access. And we'll be rotating that around. And I really don't know how often we're going to do it. I mean, that's something, because Carl takes, and right now they've got a doctor and a nurse practitioner and a social worker, and we do food along with it. And we will be expanding that and having a mobile market available a lot of times. So, and so how often, I'm not sure, because they also have to coordinate that, because they take doctors and nurses out of rotations, which will now be at Carl Broman. And really, I think they were bringing them over from Champaign. And so we'll actually be working directly here. Colleen Canaday has been involved in these discussions with us, and so is Jim Leonard, who's the CEO of Carl. He's been over here involved in all of these discussions that we've had. I think Carl coming to Bloomington Normal is one of the best things we got going on. They're very community oriented. I've been involved. My foundation has been for years with them, stuff in Champaign. And so it just was a great fit to move some of that over here and do it over in our community.
And I would say that one of the stipulations that Jeff's foundation and United Way had when we offered this investment was we want it to operate exclusively in McLean County. And we also want to make sure it's getting into areas besides, those that are easily identified, right? Having worked in this space for about 8 years, probably 90 to 95% of services are concentrated in Bloomington Normal. So when you see this map from the county health needs assessment that shows places like Bellflower or Stanford and some others in deep red, which shows a real lack of access, lack of services, really some longer term health concerns. This coalition will kind of help to determine where we'd like to see that go, right? And we'll use the data and we'll use that information to help guide where it goes. Definitely the west side is one of those areas that you'll see it. You'll see it probably on the east side, maybe at Stevenson School. You'll see it out in some of these outlying areas. But that's part of what we stipulated, is that we want it dedicated to McLean County, not used for other areas here, and that we also have some input, at least, in ability to help them identify where they should be taking this to deliver those services.
We're actually making a restricted gift to the Carl Foundation. And so once we have all the money put together, I know that some other governmental people in McLean County are in the process that you're in. And when we get all that done, we're going to have a document with their foundation. And this will be a restricted gift, which says it's only in McLean County, and that we will have the majority of the input on where it's going to go, and be working closely with their people here and also with their people in Champaign.
Okay, and thank you. Thank you very much. That was very helpful. And the other question that I have is, what about dental health screenings?
Probably not yet. That could be a future thing at this point. I don't believe that's in the current mobile unit that they have. And I think there's some specialty equipment that would need to be changed out in order to do that. Let's just say that would be on our radar for the future. But at the current time, I think it would be more medical, social service, behavioral health related type services.
Thank you. Question?
Yeah, just one more comment. I appreciate that it's offered multilingual. I think that's important for this community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It doesn't look like we have any other questions. Thank you very much. And I believe we're ready to vote.
Yeah, you do. Just as a reminder, we have a first by Councilmember Urban and a second by Councilmember Bolin.
Okay, thank you very much. And the item passes, no nays to announce. Next item on the agenda, I believe, is city manager's discussion, correct?
It is.
Okay, awesome. Go ahead, City Manager Gleason.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure how many slides I have tonight. Go ahead and roll the first one and I'll keep up. I have 3. All right, this one's split. We have the summer concert series that's starting on June 18th, day before Father's Day. So community, take your dads out to the summer concert series. And then the outdoor farmers market, this is a success yet again, and well attended. And it's Saturday mornings from 7:30 to 12, and ample opportunity to stray away from the farmers market and do other things downtown. Slide number 2. Saturdays on the square. We have, where's our website? Is that embedded in there for everyone to go to? But we have a concert series, as you can see here, and those have been well attended in the past as well. Another good lineup for our summer series. And then the last one, I think, is Juneteenth. And yes, it is. Come out. This is at Miller Park, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on June 18th. Again, Juneteenth is also known as Freedom Day. It's a day to observe the end of slavery in the United States. There's events all over the United States, and this was definitely a priority of the mayor and of the council, and we'll have this celebration on the 18th. And then additionally, I wanted to share this morning, and I know that the mayor is going to comment more specifically to the Ferrero event this morning that was well attended. The mayor was one of the featured speakers. But what I will share about the relationship with Ferrero and their presence in this community and in this region. It's truly a pleasure working with them. They're the type of company, in fact, an international company that want to be a part of our community. And the major investment that they've made in this community and the ongoing relationship is truly a delight for us to deal with. I want to specifically acknowledge Melissa Hahn, the Economic Community Development Director, Kim Smith, her assistant, but then also Chris McAllister, also give him recognition for all the work and the relationship with Ferrero. And Mayor, that was all that I had, and I'm going to let you pick it up.
Sure. Yeah, so this morning was a great event. We had the opportunity to announce this major investment by Ferrero, $214 million investment, up to 200 jobs created for bringing online the Kinder Bueno product line. So this is it is a fantastic development for us. And as Tim said, Ferrero has been a joy to work with. They're a family-oriented family company, and they certainly have work with us, in a family-like atmosphere. And as we always say, anything important, bears repeating twice. They were very complimentary of their relationship with the city of Bloomington, particularly with the staff. And they've said it many times over, and I've heard it from several of their leadership. So it is definitely a really wonderful day to be able to celebrate this particular accomplishment. And I think there will be more to come, in my opinion, because it speaks very well of Bloomington, that a company of Ferrero stature decides to invest heavily in our community, particularly when you think about the fact that there was already an investment a year ago, $75 million, and now it's another $200 million. In my conversations with them last year, they did say that it's not unusual for them to invest millions and millions of dollars in the communities where they choose to locate. So I'm very hopeful that this is going to happen, and it's showing that it is happening already. So really a fantastic time. And I think I'm not going to say anything else, because that's a great way to end it. And I'm going to turn it over to council members for comments, discussion. Councilmember Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 points, 2 questions, 2 points, I guess I'm going to say. First thing I want to do is I want to tack on to what the city manager said about the farmer's market. I was down there this last Saturday. It was phenomenal. The number of people there wandering the streets and going and visiting all the different places to pick up different, very fresh vegetables. They're quite tasty, I must add. The second part of that is the encouragement that I've seen here and a change in our downtown businesses with the farmers market. And over the years, I'm seeing, and Saturday, I was very, very encouraged for the number of downtown businesses that were open during the farmers market. And that's a change from in the years past. There's been a lot of businesses that have not been open. And I'm very encouraged to see those businesses open. And for those who aren't open, hint, hint, because that's a lot of traffic being driven downtown. And that's great for those businesses. And that's one of the great things about the farmers market, is that those businesses were helping drive traffic down there with the farmers market. And, the number of people I saw walking into Red Raccoon games, it's just people in and out, in and out. I don't know if they were buying stuff. I hope so. Sugar Mama Bakery, fantastic coffee. So that's my first thing is there with the farmer's market. The second one, and that is we are a month into our fiscal year now. And we all keep seeing fuel prices go up and up and up. And yeah, I went through the budget. I wasn't part of the council when the budget was passed. But I went through it, not with a fine tooth comb. I don't know if I could do that, but and I see that we have budgeted a significant amount of difference, a significant more for fuel for this year than last year of what we actually spent and what was budgeted for last year. But I'm still concerned with rising fuel costs. You know, we get into our big five: the park maintenance, police, fire, public works, and fleet management. That are when are we going to blow that budget this year? With the rising cost of fuel, are we going to blow that budget? And then we also get into Connect Transit. And so I think it would be wise that if we could get maybe next week at the committee of the whole for our first month, where were we with our fuel spending? What's our projection now? Do we have a different projection now? Is that something we can do? And I think it would be good for us to reach out to Connect Transit and say, are you anticipating blowing your fuel budget? I think that, you know, this is something we know it's coming and we should get ahead of it rather than all turn around next November and go, oh no, wow, look what happened to our fuel budget this year. And so that's where I'm at there. Thank you.
Sounds good. And I think that that is something that will be in the finance director's report at the end of the month. So we can certainly discuss that and the strategy that we use as a city in terms of fuel. Okay, all right. Okay, Councilmember Bowen.
Yeah, I have two things. We passed the Ecology Action Commission funding, which I'm supportive of, but I went online and I was trying to find their annual report, and I couldn't find it. So I'm hoping that someone can get that to me. I think it's important, and this is for every not-for-profit, quasi-governmental group. I think that they should be providing some kind of return on investment information to the council if we're giving money to them. So I would like to see how many households, you know, are they really saving energy, that type of thing from the activities that they're doing. And the other thing, I think she's still there behind Leslie. You spoke about mental health or recovery, drug recovery. Okay. I'm the city representative on the Behavioral Health Coordinating Council, and you may want to come and speak to them, or I can take that information and pass it on. They have different programs that address some of those things, and if you want to integrate with them and communicate with them, I think that would be very valuable.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Okay. Doesn't look like we have anybody else. So at this point, I think we are ready for a motion to adjourn, correct? Okay, we'll make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Okay, second. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Aye. Okay, we are adjourned.